So why don't you talk amongst yourselves while I set some things up?
Sure. Well, we have to talk about the human wrecking ball that has been DOWSEY in Challenger.
Oh my
He,
god.
Yeah, so one of the things about the Swiss system is that the pairings are obviously just kind of random at first, but then you face tougher and tougher opponents. You try to pair opponents of similar records as the season goes on. So the games get tougher, the opponents get tougher. DOWSEY won his first two matches, then he lost to Inknun in week 3. We knew even then, and we definitely know now, that Inknun is one of the better players in Challenger. It was a close match, 7-5, really could have gone either way. DOWSEY has not lost since. And more than that, they've only played
DOWSEY hasn't drawn since. DOWSEY has won out since then.
Yeah, and let me read these scores for you, see if you notice a trend. 7-2, 7-4, 7-5, 7-0, 7-2, 7-2. So most of these, not close. Only one of them comes down to the wire. So over the last 3 weeks in particular, against, again, in Swiss, increasingly difficult competition, that is a 21-4 margin over the last 3 weeks over the best that the challengers have to offer. That is not just winning, ladies and gentlemen. That is dominance.
All right, great timing. Let's get into the next one. Unless, Tobo, you wanted to say something.
I just wanted to make sure everyone keeps in mind that if DOWSEY wins this game, Pox is top 2.
Right. I think even ties, yeah. And if DOWSEY ties, I believe he's also guaranteed himself the #1 spot in Challenger. That's mostly for bragging rights. The top 2 spots auto-promote. One doesn't auto-promote more than the other necessarily. There might be some changes between seasons, but they're basically fighting for the same thing. So that part at least is for bragging rights. The #1 spot in Challenger in a very big Challenger field. It would be quite an accomplishment. Chance to close it out right here.
All right, let's get into it. Oh man, I'm just gonna do sound effects. You know what? I'm giving into it. I've tried hard to avoid the sound effects, but I'm giving in.
The siren song of the sound effects.
I can't not do it. All right.
I feel like you attempted to become a Foley artist in your youth and it didn't work, and this is just you're expressing that unfulfilled dream.
Yeah, that's probably not too far from the truth, but let's get into the picks and bans. All right, let's start out with DOWSEY banning my favorite map, Pub, any 4 of 7, and Sheph. Is it Sheph? I'm just gonna say Sheph.
It is, yeah, I believe.
Sheph is not banned anything.
Yeah, so banning Pub here makes a lot of sense. Sheph has played 8 spy games on Pub, 62% win rate. Pretty darn good for a map that's, I'd say, pretty sniper favored. So, you know, DOWSEY, he's all about the counterplay, and he's all about the numbers. He's all about the data, man after my own heart there. And that's just what he's going to do. He's going to try to take away what you do best, dare you to beat him with literally anything else at that point. The no ban, though, is a little surprising. There's certainly some maps they could have thought about banning there. Ballroom, Gallery. DOWSEY is shockingly strong on Ballroom. He's won 7 out of 8 games on Ballroom, pause for effect, as Spy, not as Sniper. That'd be a good win rate as Sniper on Ballroom. That'd be a very good win rate as Sniper of 87.5% as Sniper. That's what he's got going on the Spy side. So there are definitely options for Sheph to ban here. I don't know. Maybe it's an expression of confidence. Maybe it's just, you know, mind games. You know, I choose to ban nothing.
Yeah.
DOWSEY is known for doing a lot of research into his opponents, known for being pretty rigorous and careful with his drafts.
Yes.
Sheph is apparently just deciding to be Wodar.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a Wodar. There's a little bit of a YOLO kind of thing. I think maybe it might also be, you know, how do you surprise someone who does that much research? The only way is to do something totally counterintuitive. For all the research DOWSEY did, I'm guessing it probably didn't enter his mind that there would be no ban.
Well, we've talked about the bans. Also, from the chat, it is Sheph, not Chef, which means I can't use my joke. Let's see what
no more Chef puns,
is cooking.
Unfortunately.
Oh, it hurts. But that's all right. Let's get into the picks. DOWSEY starting off by picking Courtyard, any 4 of 7 for their doubled map. Shep throwing up Modern, any 5 of 8 for their doubled pick. DOWSEY finishing out his picks with Ballroom, 4 of 8. And the last pick of the draft is Balcony, any 2 of 3.
Well, so there are 2 things worth noting here. I mentioned Ballroom shockingly strong so far this season for DOWSEY, so if it's not banned, Sure. Yeah, I'll pick it.
Yeah.
A little bit of a surprise that he didn't double it, given that. Not sure what the rationale would be there. Courtyard, on the other hand, I can tell you, I'm almost certain, picked because it is literally, it ensures that he has picked every single map in SCL now over the 10 weeks.
All right.
That is not a typo. That is correct. He has picked or drafted every single map. Yep, even Terrace, people, even Terrace.
Hey, I don't want to hear another ill word about Terrace, or so help me, I will kick you off this stream.
I am only acknowledging that it is not often picked.
So
certainly.
help me.
So he has picked every single map here. Now, we mentioned refusing to ban as an expression of confidence. Let's say that's also an expression of confidence. I am willing to pick any map, potentially.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road. Starting things off, Shep on the spy side as Irish in Courtyard. DOWSEY on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And we're starting things off very much by the book with an early flirt in conversation for 34%.
Yeah, very straightforward, very standard. I feel like, Tobo, you and I could record our comments for most Courtyard games and just replay them for about 4 out of every 5, and they would be as applicable.
Yeah, for the most part, just the timing would be a bit off.
Yep.
Ooh, nice little redirect on the briefcase there.
Yeah, very nice. And it's the kind of player you want to be doing that against. DOWSEY will notice that. He will bump you down in suspicion if he sees good AI behavior.
And gets back in the conversation with the seduction target to speed up this next flirt by a little bit. Hits a green on the next one as well, up to 85%.
Worth noting, there is a print at one of the statues now. The ambassador's just finishing up.
Stepping in for a quick contact double agent here. Couple of people out of conversation, but it's a pretty good time for it.
It's not bad. I see a couple highlights, including one person at statues right now. If you can wait and get 1 or 2 more in, like that, pretty good time.
And here it goes. It is a white test.
Banana bread.
So we've got 1 low light, 2 low lights.
Solid.
That may well be it.
Yeah, I mean there is a relatively full conversation with no SDA in it, but that's an above average banana bread, I'll say.
And gets to finish up the seduction while Shep is at it. So that's 2 mission completions, no statue visit yet, with 1 minute left to play. So slightly behind the curve.
Slightly behind, but otherwise quite in keeping with. This is definitely not an MP3 that we were previous court, even though it sounds like it still could be.
Yeah, usually the statues have been visited at this point. We've got a fingerprint off of a drink, which is very nice, but we are going to need to hit the statues now, or at least soon. Only 30 seconds left to play. We're not going to be able to get a timeout in time to stop the beeping.
I'm trying to remember if that had been smudged since then. It's been a while now.
Let's find out.
I think it has.
This is going to be tight. It's going to be overtime, I'm pretty sure either way. It is a difficult fingerprint. Shep is putting a lot on the line here. Here's the inspects.
Big moment.
Here it is. Oh, doesn't hit it. Has to swap at the end. And that's not getting by DOWSEY, who
Nope.
goes up 1-0.
So the risk there, obviously, is that you don't hit the action test. It sat there just too long, gets smudged. On the other hand, they put themselves in a position where, against a very good sniper, a green test almost certainly wins the game. And as a spy against a good sniper, you will take those odds. If you're hitting even like close to half of your green tests, you will absolutely take those odds for a spy win to start the match. I think that was pretty well played. It's just, you play those odds, you'll take those odds. They're not always going to work out for you. But if you're Shep, you have to be very happy with how you played that. And if you're DOWSEY, you dodged a bullet when you fired one.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to make note of, though, is something about the difficult fingerprint action test, I think, is more difficult than a standard green test, just because the action test bar looks different and it's spooky.
Yeah, and human brains are silly that way. Technically, there's no downside to the red test. You shouldn't care that much. I will say, though, I think they're a little easier on things like statues where it's stationary. When you have to combine it with moving towards the ambassador, getting the briefcase right, or just dealing with general party movement when you're walking around with a drink, I tend to prefer the statue ones, all else being equal. Still not an easy thing, though. Even if you're really good at action tests, maybe you're getting 60, 65%. Shep puts themselves in a really good position there, just can't quite close it out. Really close call for DOWSEY.
DOWSEY now stepping into the spy side of things on Courtyard. Shep on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Looks like a rush Purloin with that request.
That's exactly what it is. Even breaks animation to get out of there as fast as possible, but that could wind up being really bad. DOWSEY looks like he gets away from there unscathed, though.
We'll see. It looks like the laser's chasing him.
Oh, yeah, there's the highlight. This could be bad for DOWSEY.
Yeah, here's the problem if you're DOWSEY. You're not going to complete missions this game. Almost certainly not. You are banking on something so unlikely, which is that you do nothing all game, and one of the AI just sort of help you by finishing.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a lot of luck, and you have to really bank on it. You know, if you try to get anything done, they're going to be staring at you. They're going to be tunneling at you.
Banana bread.
Oh. Oh, my. Yep.
At that point, really, the only decision you have is, am I going to finish or am I going to lay really, really, really... Yeah, that's a hard thing to know, to have that sense. Did I get away with it totally clean or not? In this case, absolutely not. If you decide to make any mission progress after that, it's over. There were a lot of early highlights. I think the lay low and hope the AIs get themselves shot strategy had a pretty decent chance of working out there, but now we'll never know.
That was a really good attempt, though, because that banana split, that was on the other side of the statue.
Yeah,
Sheph
so he got him on the rotate, right? Yeah, so it was actually a very effective banana bread. It's a shame he didn't do it in a standard Courtyard game. It might have been even better.
Banana bread.
That was worth a shot. Didn't wind up happening. It's now 1-1 as DOWSEY steps back into the sniper side. Shep on the spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Shep thought it was worth a shot too.
We have our first Smallman game.
Probably not our last, but we'll see.
We shall see.
And the question I always have when someone picks Smallman, are they doing it because they want to, draw attention away from something else, or are they doing it because they have basically made up their mind to complete? You know that it's at a certain point in the game as Smallman, if you're anywhere near the ambassador, they're going to be tempted to credit you with a bug unless they're staring you down.
Either way, we've got that first Seduce done for only 25%, but we are in conversation with the double agent, so we might be able to get something out of that. Lots of movement, though.
And lots of early highlights. You want to really watch this banana bread. Yeah, probably better not to do it at all right now.
Just steps into statues instead fairly early on. That doesn't really matter so much on this map in particular, though, because you're not going to be doing a whole lot of fancy shenanigans, and usually the hardtail gets left until the end anyways. Second flirt, though, is a close green, so that brings us all the way back up to 76%, so that's a much better situation.
Yeah, the order has been a little different, but the result might be the same, which is a minute left, 2 softail missions done, and you have to decide what to do for the hardtail.
I was really worried DOWSEY was going to get caught on rotation there, but turned around in time.
There was a failed bug attempt, but not visible, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a shock to nothing there as the ambassador came around.
It's hard to say. I will say DOWSEY was rotating with the character in particular and around the Amba, so it seems like he was really looking at it closely, so he might have caught it, but remember, he has no other reason to shoot right now, even if he did. At worst for Shep, he's just waiting for some reason to shoot.
Seduce is done. Inspect is done. Contact is not done. There's the time ad. What does DOWSEY do about this?
If he was a suspect for the bug at all, he has very little time left.
Oh, he swapped, and he's getting out of there. He was seen leaving the statue.
He was seen coming around the corner. Couldn't even tell if he was turning out of statues or not for sure, though.
This is a great play from Sheph. Let's see if it works out. Still needs this contact.
And it's all about timing now.
Gets a fingerprint, actually, off a drink here. 1 minute to play. If Sheph can pull off a silent game on freaking Courtyard, man.
You don't see it too often. Nope.
No, the shot comes off.
Look at this. There was
DOWSEY.
slight animation break for the sip. Take a look at this. Right around 57.
Are you kidding me?
There are so few players in Challenger who would notice this, but DOWSEY is one of them. Just a little bit. Look at the head turn, and then snaps forward right around 58.
What is this?
Yep, there it is.
What is this? No. DOWSEY,
Yeah.
stop it.
Look, he's at the top of Challenger for a reason, people.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Disagree.
It's hard to watch.
Alright.
But a great
Well-
game from Shep otherwise. That timing on that
Yeah.
swap was really something.
Yeah, that was really good.
And you mentioned earlier on the bug that he almost got caught on a bad rotation. I think he did see the bug, or at least strongly suspected it. Funny, though, that the rotation ended up mattering later. And that is probably the downside, by the way, of watching for etiquette breaks that closely. You really do have to tunnel on it. You really do have to give it a lot of your attention. So I think, generally speaking, any sniper on Courtyard who's going to be really good at catching that kind of thing, like the SIP, is also going to be a little more vulnerable than an average sniper to that kind of swap when it's timed well.
All right. Well, DOWSEY, with that shot, puts himself up to 2-1 as he steps into the spy side of Courtyard. Shep on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
If you're DOWSEY, you actually really want him to think that was for the SIP in particular. You really want to rattle him with, oh boy, wow, there's no margin for error here.
This is very true. Double Agent enters our conversation, which is fortunate. Might be able to get a very early contact, and indeed we do. Look at everybody in conversation. I think that's just one low light. And the wrong arm bug on the way through. That was visible, but I think Shep was so busy doing banana bread stuff that it was clean.
But here's the thing, it was only good in one sense. It was good in the sense you mentioned, lowlights. In terms of who could have done a real banana bread, it's literally 2 people. For all those people in other conversations, the SDA was at statues. So he is one of just, I think, 2 to 3 people, Hair being one of the others, who could have actually done a real banana bread.
Ah.
Yeah, that's a big trade for that bug, but it's a hell of a bug. Almost totally invisible. I think you can see the elbow a little bit, but not very well from that angle. And there's just no way you shoot here, even if he's a big suspect for the banana bread.
Look at this! We've got the bug done, we've got the contact done, we've got the inspect done, we've got 51% on the flirt, we've got almost 2 minutes left on the clock! This is insane!
Yeah, Shep has almost no chance. If they haven't already caught them for this, it's not going to work. And it's a good thing, too, because as I mentioned, yeah, if they're watching that banana bread closely, if they're looking for who could be done with the mission, not just for who couldn't have completed it with the lowlights, that's a big distinction we talk about a lot. Do you go for lowlights, or do you notice who could have been done? If you notice who could have been done, your suspect list right now is actually tiny.
Yeah, no kidding, but even then, I don't think you take a shot for flirts at this point.
Even then, I don't think so, because you can't just credit the bug, obviously. But it's the only way you would have any hope of it, certainly, given how close DOWSEY is to finishing already.
Oh, man. This is crazy.
So here's my number.
Yeah. The numbers are 3, 2, 1. Yeah, no hope of a shot.
Yeah. There's just nothing to do there.
Yeah, that game was over at the 2-minute mark. We were just waiting for the coroner to come in and pronounce it dead, really.
Yeah. That was very, very impressive.
That game happened in a 20-second burst near the beginning. Bug, banana bread, not in that order. Banana bread, bug, inspect, boom, 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 done. And then it was over.
My God. That was one of the more impressive games I've seen on this map.
If you, I don't know if we've gotten a chance to take a look at the replay on that bug. It's pretty darn good. Shep is not really in a bad position, but not in a position particularly conducive to catching the bug. All you can really see is this little elbow hitch from the left arm as they're walking away. That's it. The actual bug sidearm, because it's a wrong arm bug, not really going through the ambassador. Very little to catch there. You'd have to be watching for it specifically.
Yeah. Good stuff. Holy
Good stuff.
cow. I'm impressed. All right. Well, that puts DOWSEY up 3-1 after the Courtyard games. As we step into the next one, this is going to be Modern, with Shep starting things out on the spy side of things, DOWSEY on the sniper. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We're still, I think, fighting as a community as to whether or not it's going to be modern or modern.
It's modern.
I know it technically is, but we're losing that fight, Hummus. We're losing it.
What
I
fight?
like
It's modern.
more.
Then
I
it's
like
modern.
more. I just hate saying it.
Oh. Tobo, now I need to find 2 casters.
Two new best friends.
Two new best friends.
Yes. Don't put that on Craigslist, though. I can't tell you what kind of responses you're going to get. Look at this bar rush. Very interesting.
Yeah. So many people here.
All I'm thinking now, with DOWSEY up 3-1.
Ooh! Oh, I wanted it so bad, but so did DOWSEY.
It's just a lean, yeah. Look, the ambassador's vulnerable. You have to watch for it. And because there's so many people at bar, there are not people at statues or doing a whole lot of bookcase shenanigans. So it actually gives a DOWSEY kind of license to stare that down just in case. Makes a lot of sense. What I was thinking there, and especially even more now with DOWSEY up 4-1, I'm thinking back to that first game where Shep had a chance to not just win a spy game, but win the first game, a mission win, punch in the face on Courtyard of all places. The map DOWSEY picked for the first time all year for the lulz, and basically it could have backfired on him almost immediately. Have to imagine that would have set the tone a little differently, but now Shep already up against the wall, down 4-1.
It also should be noted with that bug. It should be noted with that bug, if it came off just a little bit, Pencil Stash might have been able to provide some cover for it, but it was just like a little bit late for that. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think the reaction was trying to get it by Pencil Stash and just the split-second lane on the right click. But either way, it's 4-1. DOWSEY on the spy, Shep on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Wow, immediate white time ad.
Yeah. You don't see that many of those. And a flirt, what I like to call a walking flirt as well. Up to 51% already.
Yep, already a lot of progress, and wants to keep it going. Gets right into bookshelves and has some cover from Pearls if she sticks around.
Yeah.
She does not.
Doing it anyways, hit a green test, which is pretty nice. You can still see that arm come down to the pocket, but the head turn is basically completely mitigated from hitting the green, and Shep didn't see it.
There's an awful lot going on in Modern. You really have to dedicate a lot of attention to be able to catch a green microfilm there.
Flirt gets finished up here at the bar. We have red film in pocket, still 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to play.
Now, when you guys hear us cast games on Courtyard or Ballroom, you see us kind of shrug off the 2 flirt versus 3 flirt thing, not a big deal. But on other maps, particularly like Gallery and Modern, 2 flirting early on, very useful. When your ST is unhelpful in those games, you can have to chase them an awfully long way to finish.
Fingerprint from the blue book, but gets caught on either that or the green microfilm transfer. And Shep finds a win on the sniper side of Modern.
I think that might have been a little greedy there. Because it's a fingerprintable book, it's just more likely that Shep is going to be looking there anyway. Obviously, the animation there doesn't help, but it was still a green, you know? So really good catch there. I think maybe just Shep had a reason to look at it. That's kind of the thing. In Modern, you're hiding in plain sight because there's so much going on. Doesn't actually mean that they can't catch you. It's just that there's stuff going on around you. When we give them another reason to look at you. It's kind of like bugging near Toby on another map, right? You've given them no reason to look elsewhere. In this case, if they're already tracking the fingerprint a little, more likely to catch even a green microfilm.
I think DOWSEY hit 100% green tests on that game.
Yeah. Except for the white time at the beginning. But after
Right,
that,
time ed.
after that, 4 straight, 2 flirts, 2 microfilms. There was a lot of progress there.
All right, let's get on to the next one. Shep on the spy side on the comeback. DOWSEY on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
A little bit of breathing room there for Shep, but they really just need to find a spy win very soon.
I love just watching Checker in the chat and Hummus in the tooltips just trolling each other. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, it's good times. For me, at least, because I just get to observe it.
Shep does pull out a blue book off the top and steps in to his seduction target for his first flirt for 34%.
I think that because of all the motion on Modern, it actually makes a lot of sense to do the action film transfer here. Whereas on a map like Library, I think, taking a book out from one place and chucking it in another is a little better.
Yeah. A little bit of a shot to nothing at an attempted reverse drive-by bug there, but the ambassador did not come around to cooperate.
Yeah, I don't think it was really seen either. DOWSEY may have caught the one on Courtyard, but Modern ain't Courtyard, kids.
Fingerprint on a briefcase. Pretty good briefcase as well. May have stopped a touch early, but I don't really know what the ranges on that are.
Well, I think DOWSEY might agree with you based on that highlight. DOWSEY pays a lot of attention to the briefcase, and I think he's thinking that is just not. Yeah, that's just not enough.
Wait.
It's another etiquette shot. I'm almost sure.
I mean, it has to be because that book went back where it was supposed to go.
Yep. Yeah. I think the briefcase gets the suspicion. This is how the etiquette stuff works, right? I mentioned earlier, etiquette seems really scary when it happens to you, but you have to understand that there's a trade-off. They're staring at you, and on a map like Modern, they're staring at you instead of literally 50 other things.
Yeah.
So the key there is not to become suspicious in the first place.
Jesus.
If you bring that suspicion on yourself with something like that odd briefcase, then you're going to give them cause to say, okay, let's hang on and see this next thing they do. Let's see if they put the book back at the right time. And when they don't, that's it. Etiquette works best, it's at its most potent when it's used not to lowlight necessarily, but when it's used to confirm suspicions.
How the hell do you track animation cycles on a book on new art? That's not fair.
It's not. As someone who played Bloom twice this year, I can tell you it's not fair. But it is possible. And it is possible to replicate. I think Bacon would certainly, if he were here, would tell us it's not that hard to replicate.
I can barely do that on the spy side.
It's hard. It's hard. You do have to pay attention to it is the main thing. It's really just that you can't afford to ignore it. It's hard to reproduce every time. It's not hard to reproduce semi-consistently, though. Especially if you have some reason to think you may be watched.
All right. Well, DOWSEY up 5-2 now.
It looks like sorcery, though, if you're not familiar with it, if you haven't put in the time yet.
Yeah.
It looks like absolute magic.
It really does. Let's see if Shep is also a wizard in 3, 2, 1, playing it. I like it.
Yeah.
Banana bread.
That was supposed to be a flirt. I guarantee that was supposed to be a flirt. But it's fine. That's okay. We're gonna do a green bookcase thing.
I mean, it's a decent guess, but DOWSEY does like to split. He likes the banana splits. He does them a lot. And I think he's right.
That wasn't even a contact, though.
Right. Yeah. No, deliberately for the low light.
DOWSEY thing, it's intentional. Fine. Be that way.
All right. Yeah. Well, no, I don't blame you. Circumstantially, it certainly looks like it, but it is a favorite move of his. Again, even with the fake.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, you rush around for those lowlights on Modern. They are precious. They really are. This party is so unwieldy. You really need to get 4 or 5 out of it. And sometimes in the hubbub, you can absolutely lowlight the wrong person, especially when they're coming from a conversation you have no reason to think they were really banana breading from anyway.
Okay, so this is a bad habit of DOWSEY's, where I think he accidentally started the book transfer and then adjusted to cancel the book transfer.
I'm trying to see, was it for the flirt? Did he twitch to make sure that the flirt was green?
No, I don't think so. Because
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's for the microfilm. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, so his logic is that some of these, that the actual twitch is less noticeable than the penalty for missing the action test sufficiently.
Yeah, his arm, he was close enough to the bookcase that his arms were basically inside of it, so it works out. But
I mean, there is a pillar there, and again, it's modern. Whether or not it's more or less noticeable, I will leave someone else to argue about, but that is the thinking, at least, behind that move.
Also, I've heard him say that it's just a bad habit he has. I don't know if that's the case, but it was a short time ago. Either way, he's got his flirt done already, he's got the transfer done, he's got the inspects done, still has a minute and 45 left to play. DOWSEY moves fast, man.
Yeah, very aggressive spy. Just it's his way to play. And even if it wasn't, when you're up 5-2 like this and you're having so much success and you've just taken a shot like the one you took for that book animation, why not?
Yeah. It's like watching Kaylee on the spy, except more so.
And remember, this is actually one more game here, one more win from DOWSEY gets him at least a tie. And that already guarantees him the top spot in Challenger. So he's right on the precipice here.
This is very true. Picked up a delegate with the drink. Is now going to send someone to do his bidding.
Yeah, who's it going to be?
Banana bread.
He's got a lot of choices here. A lot of good people to frame. There's several highlights. The question is, how much of the party has he been paying attention to while he's been zooming around it?
Well, contact comes off. Queen is sent off to the bar with nobody else there. And a little bit of delay in between as well. Hits the stop talk as well on it. Does it come off in time? It looks like it should. And indeed it does.
And there's no indication of a shot forthcoming here, at least not on DOWSEY.
Not on DOWSEY, to be sure. The shot does wind up happening on the green test victim, but that is not enough. And DOWSEY is being DOWSEY.
Yeah, DOWSEY's your top challenger. There it is. Still would like the win, obviously, but the tie alone. Look at that shot. Look at Damon staring down at his failure. Somehow still has a job. I think he's just thinking, you know what, you could see, I'm just going to write what he's thinking right there. I really should have chosen a different line of work. That's what an encapsulating image that final image is there. DOWSEY has one challenger now officially. Just a whirlwind run. It was not clear after that week 3 loss, whether or not that was presaging more difficulties to come as the matchups got tougher. Turns out it was the opposite. As the opponents got tougher, he played better. I think it's mainly because of the added accumulation of data on those people. I think it was not very useful in the beginning of the season for obvious reasons. It's more and more useful as each week goes by, and we're really seeing the fruits of it here. Obviously, still going to try to play for the win here, but either way, DOWSEY is one challenger.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in part more data to work with, but I think it's also definitely in part DOWSEY just playing an absolutely absurd amount of SpyParty.
Playing a ton, yeah, but I really believe in this data thing. I think it is something that people are still sleeping on a little bit, particularly in Challenger. Some people are still new to the game, and he's really going crazy with it. He's occasionally shown me some of the numbers he's come up with, and they are sometimes very, very helpful. And by definition, they get better the more you play.
Whatever, you just like the movie Moneyball.
I do. It's a great movie. I like that Brad Pitt's physical transformation into Robert Redford is almost complete there too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, should we move on to where we go? Oh, I believe we're going to Ballroom next. Yes.
We are in fact going to Ballroom, and remember, Pox isn't necessarily top 2 yet. If Sheph manages to come back and tie this, then
I think he might be already either way.
Oh,
I think
you're right. I misread
this locks
the
it
thing
in.
with Sheph tie or loss. So
I think this locks in both of them. It's DOWSEY and Pox. They are your auto promotes. Still important for other reasons, though. If Sheph can force a tie, that's going to help them with that seeding a lot because they're right on the edge of the top there after Turnip Boys win. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
They could still be fighting for that first seed. They could still be fighting for the second, third. You know, there's still a lot of jumble because you look at Challenger right now and 2 points separate something like third from 10th almost. So pretty big deal. The seeding could matter a lot in that tournament. Sheph knows that they're going to be stuck in it, but there are better and worse places to be in that bracket.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's 2 points separate third from ninth.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
3 points separate third from 16th?
Yeah, about 16th. So every little point matters. So even though it's going to be tough here trying to pull off 4 wins, it is actually worth quite a bit to Shep.
Yeah. The freaking Challenger is insane. All right, let's get into ballroom. Shep on the spy side. DOWSEY on the sniper. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Do I really have to say hashtag abolish Challenger? Do I really have to do that too now?
You don't, but you did it already, so we'll just roll with it.
Yep. Look at that highlight.
I mean, the whole point of Challenger is to abolish Challenger.
Right. Not for the reason we thought, though. This is a whole new problem. This is not what we anticipated. We didn't think we were breeding a race of super spies.
Either way, Shep starting things off with 33% on a window flirt, so that's a pretty solid way to start things off. Very by the book.
Yeah, and DOWSEY at this point really doesn't have anything to play for. Just, would like the win rather than a tie, but that's about it. It's all upside for DOWSEY. Probably having a little fun with it here.
Oh my god, someone in chat saying that this highlight was for he likes to play twin a lot.
If you say so.
Research, man!
If you say so. If you were going to bust out your kind of goofy highlight strategies, this would be the game to do it.
Yep.
First one all season that hasn't mattered.
Timer flirt comes off. 67%. White test purloin. That's not good.
No, it's not. Not necessarily going to induce a shot, though. At least not yet.
Fingerprint on the drink. So that could be useful later on, especially if we need to not die while being watched very closely, which is always...
And Shep clearly deciding here, well, okay, white purloin on ballroom. I guess I lay low and hope he thinks it was someone else.
Banana bread.
Yeah. Contact comes off. He's not dead yet, so there's that. A couple of low lights isn't too bad either.
Yeah, but if you're Shep, you don't necessarily feel great. You're sitting here thinking, what stupid animation is going to lose me this game anyway?
That's true. He's certainly been caught on some unfortunate business before, but getting out of there with the drink sip is a good way to do it. There's the flirt getting finished up, and with 1 minute left to play, that briefcase is looking really tempting. Well, no longer looking tempting. Thanks for that.
No. Nope, not anymore.
Blue bookcase, though. Wow, Ambassador's just putting his hands all over stuff. Probably want to avoid the statue visit if possible, but... And, oh, look, the people are putting their hands all over the fingerprints again, so I guess it's gonna be statues on the side? Side statues? I think we're doing it. Here goes Shep. No, it's gonna be briefcase! This doesn't even have a fingerprint on it!
Oh, God. Oh, no. What's the plan?
It's just desperation bug doesn't even take, and the shot goes off. There was definitely a fingerprint hot on the side statue, but
Yeah, just a big trouble either way.
yeah, that was
probably
hard.
Now, you still needed 3 more wins after that to even force a tie, which is at this point for seeding. So, not as much at stake there, certainly. Not as heartbreaking, maybe. Definitely felt a little closer than that 7-2 score indicates, but DOWSEY just goes out really, really strong here down the stretch. And with that win, doesn't just win Challenger, but puts an exclamation point on the victory.
DOWSEY's terrifying, man.
Yeah, again, technically guarantees an auto promote to Iron for both DOWSEY and Pox, but personally, no formal promises. I'll be very surprised if they don't end up a lot higher.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
and who knows what state the league is going to be in next season with all this crazy number of new entrants. I think we're going to have to
We'll
some
do something.
fiddling with
Yeah.
how the league is structured, but that is for another day. For this day, we have Turnout 8 versus Chris